What's up guys, PPD here and welcome to another episode of the Trophy Cabinet, a special today and Friday. Because there were so many tournaments out, I had to find a way to put it all into one, and I managed to get this into one. So we're going to be playing a special. It's going to be called The 5. I know, pretty unoriginal, but it is going to conclude of 2 parts. And it's going to conclude of 5 tournaments. The 5 tournaments are right there, 5 or less, 4 at most, 3 or fewer, no more than 2, and there can only be 1. EA released these, and when it was 5 or less, 4 at most, I'm like, okay, and the next one's going to be 3, then it's going to be 2, and there's going to be 1, and that is what happened. And the requirements for the first tournament were to have at least 5 players from one league in the starting 11, so I went with a BPL team with a touch of Bundesliga and a little bit of League 1, and I got Aguero up top, which is one of my main requirements when I build a team for these tournaments, because I just know how clinical he is. And we head into the final, and we come across one of the best teams we've probably ever come across in a Trophy Cabinet final. What a team that was, and it was going to be a tough final. However, we would get the party started over here 3 minutes in. Sturridge with a great run out there, does well to beat the defender, outpaces him, and finishes it on his left foot right there. I could have played the sweaty pass across to Aguero right there, but I feel like we've scored enough sweaty goals that you guys deserve to see a nice little clean finesse into the back of the net, and that is what we did with Sturridge. Plus, I was confident with his finishing ability. I've played with him before, and he is also one of the best Premier League strikers in my opinion. So we go up early, however, our opponent doesn't take long to equalize it. Literally, pretty much right off a kickoff, Sirigu gets the own goal for that. I'm not too sure how that was an own goal, but it is what it is. Martial did not get the goal for that. However, in the 9th minute, an instant reply, Aguero with a great scoop turn, manages to get the ball back somehow, lays it off to Sturridge, and Sturridge finishes it once again, makes it 2-1 to us, gets his second goal, and over here, Sturridge with a great chance to make it 3-1. Unfortunately, though, he would be denied by Leno this time, and he would not get his hat-trick just yet. So we're dominating this game, creating lots of chances. We're up top, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Aguero, once again, starting off the play over here, gives it to Sturridge. Sturridge causing all sorts of trouble for our opponent. This time, Sturridge does pass it to Aguero, and Aguero finishes it very easily on the 1v1, gets the 3rd goal of the game, and just like that, we have a 2-goal cushion, and we are just creating all sorts of chances over here. We have a free kick right outside the box. We're going to give it to Aguero, which looking back on probably wasn't a good idea. But he does end up hitting the crossbar, which surprised me because I don't think Aguero's free kicks are that great. I probably should have given that to Coutinho. But whatever, we're still on top 3-1. And in the 42nd minute over here, we would try to create another chance. However, we do give a bad pass. And this time, Martial makes sure he would get on the score sheet as he scores an absolute screamer from outside the box. Didn't know he was capable of that, but our opponent pulls one back, makes it 3-2, and we head into the second half with only a 1-0 lead. And despite us dominating and creating a lot of chances, I know for a fact that we have to get a 4th and maybe a 5th goal if we want to win this game. Possession is very close, but we've had the better chances, and we just have to play as well as we did in the first half. Maybe grab 2 goals and we'll be fine. And in the 57th minute over here, our opponent would get the first chance of the second half over here as he goes on the attack. Martial to Bale. Bale with his pace is just too insane. And not only that, he does have the skills. Lays it off to Vidal. And Vidal somehow finishes it in one of the weirdest finishes I've seen. And just like that, our opponent is back in the game, equalizes the game 3-3, and I was losing it as our opponent goes and makes it 4-3. This time with Deco, I couldn't take the ball away from him. Every time I touched it, it would go right back to him, and I couldn't believe it. We're down 4-3 in a game that we were dominating the whole time, the whole game. And I really do not want to blow this. It's still 3-4. There's still some time for us to grab an equalizer and send this to extra time. And over here, we would try and get that equalizer. Coutinho through on goal, sends Fernando. Fernando crosses it into Sturridge. And Sturridge, with a chance to become the hero, misses the header, doesn't get the hat-trick. However, the ref calls a penalty for a foul on Fernando. And that was a bit of a strange scenario because I didn't think he'd foul me with Fernando, with Alaba on Fernando. Alaba gets himself sent off for that, which would be important as Aguero steps up to the plate, makes it 4-4, grabs his second. Right after that, we go ahead and do some subs. And if we went to extra time, I knew our opponent would be missing a defender at the back, and even if he did subs, he'd still be missing a player, which is very important for us if we want to get a win here. So that is why I cheered when we scored the penalty, but I also cheered more when he got the red card because I knew that would impact the game a lot. And we go ahead and bring on some subs. I think we brought on Pjanic, and I think we also brought on another striker. I didn't see who. But in the 86 minutes, we would have one last chance to possibly win this game and not go to extra time. Coutinho through on goal, sends Aguero, well, he was on goal, sends Aguero through on goal. Aguero does a scoop turn once again. Marcelo steals it, however, bounces back to Aguero, and Pjanic, the sub, somehow scores a 360 right there as he goes through the billboard. I couldn't believe it. I knew it was the 90, well, it wasn't even 90th minute. It was just FIFA cheese in general in the last minutes of the game. I'm not sure how Pjanic scored that, but I'm not going to complain. And with that, in a 9-goal thriller, we come up on top. We win the 5 or less tournament. We also get a pack, which is something they haven't done in a while, so that got me pretty excited. Even though I knew I wasn't going to get anything, we go ahead and open the pack, see if we can get a good untradeable player, because don't you just love when you pack someone that's really good and they're untradeable? But for us, it's not that bad because we actually could use these players in future tournaments. We end up getting Mota, which I probably won't be using for future tournaments because of his pace. If he had like 60 pace at least, he'd be a pretty decent Italian midfielder in League One. But until then, I think I'll stick with Verratti. So we go ahead, send everything to the club, and we go ahead and check off the 5 or less tournament. We're still yet to win the other 4. Can we do it? Hopefully. And we're going to go into our second tournament, which is called 4 at most, I believe. And this one, very similar to the last one, only requires you to have a certain amount of players from one league. This time 4 though, so it did get a little bit more tricky when building a team. I did do a little bit of an alteration to the team that we already had. Kept Aguero, of course. We put Pogba at cam, which is one of my other favorite players in this game because he is amazing at cam. We also bring on Dybala at left striker, who's also very clinical. And once again, we come across Bale in the final. Our opponent has a very nice team, not as great as our last opponent, but still an amazing team, probably better than ours. And he would get the first chance of the game over here in the 15th minute. Suarez threw on goal with a great finish on his left foot. I'm not too sure what Suarez's weak foot is, but it must be pretty amazing. And he's one of those players that I've heard amazing things about, but I still haven't been able to build up the coins to buy him. I probably should buy him soon though, because he might go up in price. So I don't know, we'll see if we can get Suarez anytime soon. But over here, Pogba goes ahead, grabs an equalizer for us, pretty close to right after our opponent scoring that goal. So that was a pretty quick reply. Pogba with a nice finish, and we are 1-1 back in the game. And in the 27th minute over here, we would go on the attack again. Dybala gives it to Fernandinho to Aguero, and Aguero can't finish it on his right foot, unfortunately, for the Argentinian man. So we head into the second half, 1-1, a pretty back and forth game. I feel like we've had the better chances, and we could probably be on top with a little bit of more luck. But it's still going to be an interesting second half because both teams are defending well, both attacking well, and hopefully we can grab a second goal in the second half. Look at the stats right there. We have more possession. We also have more shots, but that doesn't really say much because it's still a very tight game. Our opponent starts off the second half, though, by bringing on Marco Reus for Sterling, a pretty good sub right there because Reus is an amazing player this year. So it was going to be quite tricky to defend that Reus right there. And Bale, once again, doing that cut inside crap that he did to us last game, almost scores right there. Luckily for us, though, he does hit the crossbar. So we're even on the woodwork hits this game as Aguero and Bale both hit it. But in the 60th minute over here, our opponent would have another chance. This time, his Pogba scores the goal, and what an amazing finish. Guys, I'm telling you, if you have the coins, you need to get yourself Aguero, but Pogba is definitely a player you would want in your best 11 or whatever, because he is a clinical cam. I'm not sure if I'd play him at center mid, maybe center forward, but cam is just an amazing role for Pogba. And after that, it was time for some subs because I wasn't liking how our team was playing. And I really debated bringing on Varane because I really love David Luiz and Thiago Silva. I think I ended up doing no subs. That was a bit of a strange play to do right there. Usually I bring on subs, but I guess I really didn't like any of the players on the bench. And over here, Bale goes ahead and makes it 3-1. This time he does score, this time on his right foot, which I don't believe is that strong. So that was a bit of a weird goal, but his finishing is probably really good, so that's why he scored. So we're down 3-1. Things aren't looking good. But I went all out attack because I had nothing to lose. Tried to get one back to see if we can maybe equalize it in the dying minutes of the game. And over here, Aguero with an amazing finish gets his second goal of the game. Did he score the first one? I'm not too sure. But yeah, we're 3-2 in the 90th minute. We would have one last chance. However, David Luiz with a terrible pass right there gives it to Suarez. Suarez to Royce. And Royce, the guy I told you guys was going to be a menace, ends up being a menace as he scores the fourth goal of the game, and pretty much ruins all our hopes of coming back into this game. And with that, we will lose the final of 4 at most. So we weren't able to win it the first time, but there was still some time for us to get back into this tournament final and possibly win it. So that's what we would do. We go into the final once again, and we come across this guy who's got a Brazilian team with Ruffier in net. And nation teams is something you're going to be seeing a lot as we slowly play more throughout this special, because it would get tougher and tougher to build teams for this tournament as the numbers went down in the requirements. But we would get the party started on this one. Fernandinho with a great fake shot and an amazing finish at the near post, even in the upper 90. Another midfielder I definitely recommend is Fernandinho. I feel like he's severely underrated, and I feel like I've said this before, but he is very underrated. Dybala makes it 2-0 for us not too long after on his weak foot, and with that we would head into the second half with a 2-0 lead. Not much happened in the second half. I think we had a few chances, but none that were very clinical. Our opponent yet to have a shot on target, so I'm feeling confident in this game. I feel like our opponent is not as good as our last opponent in this final, so I feel like we can definitely win the tournament if we play our cards right. And in the 65th minute over here, our opponent would create a chance. Teixeira is going to send Hulk through. Danilo can steal it away from his Brazilian international teammates, and Hulk finds the back of the net, pulls him back for our opponents. And after that, I said, you know what, this time I am going to make subs. I'm not going to do what I did in the last final. We go ahead, and I thought about bringing Griezmann, and I ended up bringing him on for Dybala. I also went ahead and brought on Tremolinos for Alexandro, who was a little bit tired. Tremolinos does offer us that bit of pace that we need, especially on that left-hand side when we're defending against Hulk, who's already scored. So hopefully our subs can have an impact. However, in the 71st minute, Hulk gets away, splits our defense, and just like that, it's still 2-1 because that goal was offside. Luckily, our defenders pushed up far enough so it would be called offside, and that would be all she wrote because nothing really happened in the second half. Our subs didn't really have much to do, but our defense held on. Couldn't really create anything, but it was a solid win nonetheless. And with that, we are the champions of 4 at most. Another trophy in the bag. We're gonna go ahead and open the pack once again. Rewards for these tournaments were the same for like every single one. It was a pack every time you won it, so that was pretty nice to see from EA because it's not too often, like I said before, that we get packs. So very deserved win. I feel like the scoreline should have been more to us, but whatever. We go ahead, open the pack, see who we get. We end up getting Rafael, who is currently in the Bundesliga team this season, but unfortunately, since we recorded this way back when, he wouldn't be blue. So that was a little bit of a cock tease, but me at the time, past Seb, wouldn't have known that, so that's not that painful. So we go ahead, check off 4 at most, and now we're going to play the final tournament of the episode, which is going to be 3 or fewer. Looking to continue the streak of winning tournaments. Hopefully we can win it in the next episode. My name is PPD, guys, and I'm out.